We are all migrants along a journey looking for a better place. But those individuals that we've met, we're so thankful for what we were able to do through your support. Would you consider today continuing to partner along this journey? Considering how God might impress you to step in, to maybe give just a little extra this month. Thank you for your continued support.
Okay, friends, let's get to this video. This was posted on February 7, 2025. Adra responded to USAID funding pause, embracing opportunities for continuity. Why is this such a big thing to discuss today? One reason in particular is because the Seventh-day Adventist Church was named on a Fox News clip saying that we were part of the NGOs that was helping and assisting with illegal migration. In some cases, we were receiving help and funding through this illegal activity as well.
Are still being used to help fund mass migration. Now, again, people watching this going, whoa, 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 what is this NGO UN collaboration and how does it involve us? Really quickly explain it.
This has been going on for 4 or 5 years straight now, at least $6 billion, a very close collaborative partnership between the Biden-Harris State Department and those 230 NGOs and 15 UN agencies to send hundreds of millions of U.S. tax dollars to migrants on the trail, helping them, sustain them in their northward trek to the United States border, and wittingly. They know exactly what they're doing. And the odd thing is that even though they know that Donald Trump won, they still are putting together a $1.4 billion package for 2025 and another $1 billion package for 2026, which tells me that even though the numbers might be low, they definitely want to keep the pressure up and on the southern border, maybe to induce a failure, do something. But they're definitely planning to be in big business.
So Todd, let me understand this. So this is essentially making life easier for those who are trying to make the trip up to the border, correct? And what groups are we talking about here? Is this like Catholic Relief Services? Is this the Lutheran Church? Other, kind of more radical immigration groups? Give me some names.
Right. All the major religious groups are represented here. So, you've got HIAS, you've got Caritas, you've got the Lutherans, you've got the Seventh-day Adventists, you've got international relief agencies, the Red Cross, there's 230 of them, and they're all listed in the RMRP online. That's their budget.
And as a result of this finding, the President of the United States actually decided that he will end the USAID, which is one of the main cooperation through which all the taxpayer dollar has been funding through these NGOs and assisting them in their mission. But they began to find out that there was much more going on behind the scene than just helping humanitarian services. This is how Adra got into the discussion here, because this has also had an impact on the work that they do. Seventh-day Adventists have a long tradition of using both personal and church resources to support those whose lives are threatened by hunger, poverty, sickness, disaster, and civil unrest. The Adventist Development Relief Agency, Adra, was established in 1984 by Seventh-day Adventist Church to carry out this mission. One of the main goals of Adra's creation was to secure funds from governments worldwide for humanitarian work, including through the United States Agency for International Development, which is USAID. The article went on to say, for over 4 decades, Adra offices worldwide have been blessed to receive hundreds of millions of dollars from various governments and USAID, allowing the agency to deliver life-saving aid to children, women, families, and communities in need across every continent. This support has been vital in advancing Adra's mission to serve humanity with compassion, justice, and love so that all may live as God intended. On January 20, 2025, the United States government took an unprecedented action of pausing for 90 days nearly all the programs it funds through nonprofit organizations like Adra. Some of these USAID funds, which support global programs implementation, or allocated to US-based Adra International, while others are directly dispersed to Adra network offices in Africa and Middle East and South America. But this is when the story starts to get very interesting. First, let me admit, Adra has been actively involved and engaged, giving opportunity to many families and a lot of youth to get involved in humanitarian effort, to support people, to care for people. And I am not against that. I am for that. It is biblical. And Adra also raise, we are told, awareness about human traffic prevention. This was posted on February 7th. Interesting time as well. But let's move on. Adra also reported on their website, January 23rd, during the ceasefire between Gaza, what's happening with Israel and Hamas, Adra ramped up aid to combat hunger and aid vulnerable communities. So Adra is doing a good work, at least from what we see from their websites. But this is when things begin to get really interesting. So this is Joni Ernst, who is a United States Senator. There she is on a call with Elon Musk. We're going to listen to a little bit of what she says here on the call with Elon Musk.
So this is the problem with USAID. And that's why, Elon, I'm with you on this, because so much of that taxpayer money is not even going to, we love to feel good about helping starving children and name your country, but it's not going there. It's going to pay rents in Paris.
Yes, exactly.
It's going to support somebody's fancy dinner to
100%.
Entertain whoever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, to be clear, in shutting down, which we're in the process of doing, shutting down USAID, the reason for that, as opposed to simply trying to do some minor house cleaning, is that as we dug into USAID, it became apparent that what we have here is not an apple with a worm in it, but we have actually just a bowl of worms. And so at the point at which you don't merely, if you've got an apple and it's got a worm in it, maybe you can take the worm out. But if you've got actually just a bowl of worms, it's hopeless. And USAID is a bowl of worms. There is no apple. And when there is no apple, you've just got to basically get rid of the whole thing. That is why it's got to go. It's beyond repair.
These are some strong words. It's not just an apple with a worm in it. It's actually a bowl of worms. It is that bad of a thing. So now, could it be possible that Adra was using the funds to do humanitarian work? I believe they were. However, this is not the end of that story. We're not so much making a defense here for USAID. We understand the significance and the value of the work that God has given his people to do. And systems like Adra in Adventist Church plays a significant role in making a difference in helping humanity. We believe that. This is coming from the NAD, speaking about this matter, saying an appeal for human dignity and decency. NAD is speaking about this. There are many in the United States who are afraid of their future and their lives and of family members. As a Christian denomination in the U.S., the Seventh-day Adventist Church support the right of all persons, no matter their country origin. The equal rights provided in the United States Constitution, fair treatment as immigrations and refugees in this country. Now, this is where things get a little bit confusing. It's not just that the immigration problem, nobody disagrees with that. Refugees sometimes opens a door for illegal activities. It's beyond refugees as well. There is the cartels, there's fentanyl, there's also child trafficking under that title. So you kind of have to be careful how you word that. And I'm in no way saying that the Seventh-day Adventist Church should not be making a difference in these areas. All I'm simply saying is there's also corruption behind the scene that some of these entities have been running, and they are using NGOs like Adra to assist with that. This is when we have to be careful. Now, let me read to you. Let me play this video here. This is coming from the new White House press secretary.
Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys.
If you go to the border report to see a number of how much money is being funded to these NGOs, the Catholic charities tend to be at the very top of this thing. And there is a connection that I'm going to make in a minute here. But first, listen to Vice President J.D. Vance, who is a professed and practiced Roman Catholic.
But let me just address this particular issue, Margaret, because as a practicing Catholic, I was actually heartbroken by that statement. And I think that the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops needs to actually look in the mirror a little bit and recognize that when they receive over $100 million to help resettle illegal immigrants, are they worried about humanitarian concerns, or are they actually worried about their bottom line? We're going to enforce immigration law. We're going to protect the American people.
Yeah.
Donald Trump promised to do that. And I believe the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, if they're worried about the humanitarian costs of immigration enforcement, let them talk about the children who have been sex trafficked because of the wide open border of Joe Biden.
You personally
let them talk
support them
about
going into
people like
schools
Laken
and
Riley
churches.
who were brutally murdered. I support us doing law enforcement against violent criminals, whether they're illegal immigrants or anybody else, in a way that keeps us safe.
Just for the record, Adra, in a private conversation with someone, I'm going to put that and I'm going to cover the name of the individual, states that very clearly. This is what they say. It says any article, this is coming from Adra, that says we facilitate or support illegal immigration is incorrect. That's what Adra says in response to the allegation. So I just want to make sure I put that out here for record. Now, let me move on to share something else with you. I'm going to come back to address this in a little bit. Now, we are told this is coming from NAD, posted on January 31st, 2025. And NAD is speaking here. And I want to quickly want you to see some of the wordings in this recent post. North American Division of Seventh-day Adventist Office of General Counsel. So the document has been reviewed and is supported by NAD officers and the union president. So there are a number of points highlighted here. This article is primarily dealing with immigration enforcement activity on church and school property. So what it speaks about here, it gives a number of things that either if a person is an illegal migrant ought to do, and also how the church has to respond if this was the case. Imagine ICE comes to your church and is looking for an individual. These are the type of tips that both the church and the illegal person may respond and do. How do I respond to law enforcement showing up at our church and our schools? Should I ask law enforcement officers if they have a warrant? If the law enforcement does not have a warrant, should I physically support the entry? So I want you to carefully look at these words. What if immigration authorities are waiting outside the church property? What if law enforcement comes onto church property in a hot pursuit of an individual? Can I warn individuals who are being sought by law enforcers? How do I respond if the law enforcement officers request any document or ask for information? What advice should I give to those who are concerned about the immigration status? So this was posted by North American Division of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Here is a very interesting video. This is Catholic Charity and Refugee and Immigration. Listen to this video.
Hi, my name's Barb Graham, and I'm an attorney at Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of Milwaukee in the Refugee and Immigration Services Program. This is a video about knowing your rights if Immigration and Customs Enforcement approaches you. All people living in the United States, including people who are undocumented, have certain rights under the United States Constitution. If immigration officers, what we sometimes call Immigration and Customs Enforcement or ICE, come to your workplace, they must have a valid search warrant or the consent of your employer to enter non-public areas. If you are undocumented and immigration officers come to your workplace, be aware of the following. First, do not panic and do not run away. If you are frightened and feel like you need to leave, you can calmly walk toward the exit. If you are stopped, you may ask if you are free to leave. If the officer says no, do not try to exit the building. If you are questioned, you may tell them you want to remain silent. 2. You have the right to remain silent. You do not need to speak to the immigration authorities or answer any questions. If you are asked where you were born or how you entered the United States, you may simply refuse to answer or remain silent. If you choose to remain silent, say so out loud. If they ask you to stand in a group according to your immigration status, you do not have to move, or you can move to an area that is not designated for any particular group. You may show a Know Your Rights card to an officer that explains that you will remain silent and you wish to speak to a lawyer. You may refuse to show identity documents and say what country you are from. Do not, though, show any false documents and do not lie. Third, you have the right to speak to a lawyer. If you are detained or taken into custody, you have the right to immediately contact a lawyer. Even if you do not have a lawyer, you may tell immigration officers that you want to speak to one. If you have a lawyer, you have the right to talk to them. If you have signed a form called a G-28, which shows that you have a lawyer, give it to the officer. If you do not have a lawyer, ask for an immigration officer for a list of pro bono lawyers. You also have the right to contact your consulate. The consulate may be able to assist you in locating a lawyer. You can refuse to sign any or all paperwork until you've had the opportunity to speak to a lawyer. If you choose to sign something without speaking to a lawyer, be sure you understand exactly what the document says and what the document means before you sign it.
Did you notice something? There was a parallel in the language. It seems to me both these Catholic charities and what the NAD posted here, camaraderie, relationship, unity. That's what it feels like. But hey, who am I to judge? Let's move on. Fulcrum 7 posted this article in 2022 of May 31st. Adra boasts of facilitating migration into the U.S. We just read a note saying that we don't do anything that has to do with that. Here is an article saying, oh, yes, you've boasted about that. Oh, by the way, this is where the article got this whole idea from. This was posted on October 5th, 2021. New release, Adra provides aids among Haitian migrants in Mexico, Honduras, and Colombia. Now, you have to separate assisting and helping and caring for people than assisting them to travel illegally with the taxpayer dollars funds. That's a whole nother business. You understand? So we have to separate those two. It's one thing you helping individuals with their personal need and share the gospel with them, but it's another thing to engage in illegal activities. You understand? So we're not saying Adra is guilty of this, but this article here posted by David Reed is saying that Adra is boasting of having been a part of that. Early in April, the Inter-American Division posted a story on N, which the story is right there, still available today. And he went on to say in an article, which has been run by Adventist World and the Review, and how Adra is assisting migrant families in their quest north. For nearly 6 months, the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, Adra, in Honduras has been providing assistance to more than 750 migrant families who, day by day, make the long trek from South America through Honduras in their quest north. The article went on to say, we are seeing an average of 200, 300 Haitian migrants each week, and it can fluctuate with some weeks increasing significantly, said Louis Trudel. So, and again, I can post this so that you can take a look at that, because what the article is saying, Adra is actually been helping and assisting with the illegal migrations in the United States, although they say they have not. So I will leave the judgment with you to decide which one is telling the truth or which one is lying. But there was another article that was posted again by Fulcrum 7. The Seventh Adventist Church was named on TV for helping facilitate mass illegal migration into the U.S. And this is the video that it was posted in. We spoke about that as well. Fox News made mention of the Adventist Church as one of them. Let's read a little bit in this article here. According to the Center for Immigration Studies and the New York Times, and the illegal immigration border surge over the last 3+ years was the largest in U.S. history and was directly caused by President Biden's welcoming immigration policy during his first 3 years in office. Adra was one of the NGOs helping this to happen. Now, one thing that's very significant here is that when you are an NGO, you are not allowed to proselytize. So you can share your gospel. Yeah, you can assist, you can help with humanitarian services, but as far as sharing the gospel, the three angels' messages, you are not allowed. We are told Adventists compromise our Great Commission to share the Advent message, choosing humanitarian outreach over doctrinal or biblical interests. This gives us a place at the hog door, feeding off government tax dollars.
USAID, right? USAID. It came out, hundreds of just tremendous amounts of money, had nothing to do with anything. This is a terrible thing that was experienced, but we're catching them left and right. We're catching them. We're catching them to a point where they don't know what the heck is going on. They can't believe they're getting caught. And I have great respect for the people that are doing it. Elon Musk is helping us on it. And he's pretty good. He's pretty good. He's pretty good at it. But the numbers are astounding.
If you have any more question about NGOs, World Health Organization, their relationship with the Seventh Adventist Church, go watch our video, A Call to Reformation, SDA Pearl's Urgent Message to Adventists. Go watch our video with SDA Pearl's Joanna, and you will be blown away. All right, let's get back to our video here. This was posted on X, and I'm going to play a clip of that. And I said, all you have to do sometime is follow the money.
The left's head is exploding watching what President Trump and Elon Musk are doing to the government. Cutting off the waste. The American people voted for accountability, and this is exactly what they are getting. Elon Musk shut down USAID and cut off the spigot that was squandering our hard-earned money to people who hate us, who use us, and who could care less about us. But cutting off USAID didn't just cut off the money to those internationally. It cut off the money to those American nonprofits who were working against our country, the treasonous organizations who were helping criminals break into our country, the whole migrant assistance industry. In the name of helping the poor and needy, USAID was funding 9 federal contractors. 6 of them are religious organizations. Now, these orgs were not passing the bucket on Sunday morning or Shabbat services to collect the over $1 billion it cost to settle these migrants here. No, they are getting it from our tax dollars in the form of grants. Here are the contractors: Church World Service, Ethiopian Community Development Council, Episcopal Migration Ministries, Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, International Rescue Committee, U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services, United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, World Relief Corporation. The numbers I'm going to share will shock you. The Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service received in 2023 $221 million. HIAS, Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, received in 2023 $69 million. World Relief Corporation of National Association of Evangelicals received from government and other public grants $126 million. And I only named you 3. I haven't even mentioned the Catholic charities. These federal contractors work with 350 subcontractors. The contractor gets a one-time allocation of $1,125 per migrant that's used to finance resettlement logistics. By the time the migrant reaches the U.S. border, they are a car ride away from a hot meal in their new home or luxury hotel room. In addition to the cost of $1,125 per person, the contractor gets an extra $1,000 per head to spend on themselves. So in total, they get $2,125 per head. It's a cash cow, and this is why the left is losing their minds. A whole industry is at stake. We are finally fighting this and winning. Thank God we have President Trump in office. We have only a year and a half to change as many things as we can because we are not guaranteed to keep the House and Senate after the midterm elections. This is why the president is moving so fast with his executive orders and making changes.
So who do you believe at this time? What exactly do you choose to do about this information? It's up to you. But I love what Fulcrum 7 says here at the end of the article. A far better option is to support Adventist Frontier Mission, who are sharing the everlasting gospel in many countries unencumbered by geopolitical leftism, they said. And the president of Adventist Frontier so happens to be Dr. Conrad Vine. All right. That's good news. Where do you stand when it comes to this? What is your perspective and opinion at this time? Do you believe what Adra is saying? We have no involvement with illegals, activities, or immigrations, and so on. Our goal is humanitarian work. Do you believe them? Or do you believe there's much more to the story? I think ultimately we need to be praying for our church and organization, support them based on your personal conviction, of course. But I think we should stay away from government fund as far as possible because, friends, it tends to come back and hurt us in the end. I want to close with this final verse here. We're going to go to the book of Luke for this one. Luke 12, verse 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Pray for our church. Pray for the institution of our church. Pray for this organization to do what is right, and so that the church could fund itself and do the work that God has called us to do. Let's disconnect from World Health Organization, United Nations, any of these institutions, because it makes it impossible for us to share the gospel of Jesus Christ and the proclamation of the three angels' messages. While it is significant that we must meet the need of those around us, irrespective of where they come from, we have a duty and responsibility to assist them, but we must be careful with government-run and entities that are also being controlled by Roman Catholicism to push forward their agenda and ideologies. We must be careful with them. This is my perspective. You don't have to agree with me. I would like to hear from you. Share your thought and perspective below. Where do you stand when it comes to this video? Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Bye.